Good afternoon, boys. Here is an explanation on how to write the drama essay for the Black Comedy Assessment. As you can see on the screen, it says, the drama essay is a means of appreciating the meaning and function of drama and theatre. The most important thing to do is to unpack what the question is asking and then answer the question drawing on your knowledge, but most importantly, your experience. So this document, the drama essay, a step-by-step guide, which I will share with you as soon as I finish recording this, outlines how to write the drama essay. Step 1, obviously, unpack the question. Highlight the key words and phrases in the question. What is the question asking you to do? Step 2, looking at the introduction. Every introduction starts with a topic sentence, which responds to the question and its concepts. Make sure you answer or point out every key term in the question. Your topic sentence shouldn't necessarily define all of those words, but should definitely make note or point to what those words mean. And that goes into what the elaboration is. The index, you highlight the two plays that you will be discussing, so the Lieutenant of Inishmore and the Homecoming, and then outline what the key issues are in those plays, as well as the key dramatic techniques. So it's not enough to say these plays are about black comedy. You need to say these plays are about animal cruelty, violence, and these are shown through characterization and staging. Let the marker know that you know what it is that you're talking about. Then we move on to the main body paragraph, which follows the Teal method, which you would have been introduced to throughout English and over the last couple of years. I'm going to skip that for now, because I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in greater detail. And then the conclusion looks at reviewing your key examples and how they have proven your main response to the question. And you then give a final sentence about your insight. So that's your therefore X equals Y type of statement. Therefore, it is obvious that black comedy can, etc., etc., etc. Important points to remember. In a drama essay, you must write in the first person. Okay? Drama markers are looking at your personal experiences with what you've done. And to do that in the best way, you write with I. Secondly, the marker wants to know what you've done in the drama classroom. You need to not only use your theoretical knowledge, which we've spoken about, but also what is called your experiential knowledge. And that's what we're doing now, the workshops and your assessment presentations. And you can see the example there. In our class workshop, we experimented with image theatre, this is obviously from a different topic, by choosing an oppressive act and displaying it with 3 different freeze frames. By using different levels to show oppression, our images became quite powerful. There should be a real sense of the plays as blueprints for performance. Okay, and that's why I'm getting you to present 2 different versions of your scenes, or getting you to experiment with your scenes. Okay, you can see the example here. When I read The Homecoming as a play script, I found it confusing. But as our class began to act out the scenes using the awkward pauses, I realized how this awkwardness created comedy. Frequently refer to the audience experience, as without an audience, no drama or theatre exists. In a second, when I show you the drama paragraph, I'm going to outline how you bring the audience into your essay. You demonstrate your knowledge of dramatic forms, styles, and techniques. Okay, and you use quotes. Okay, so you use quotes either that you said yourself or that you heard in the performance. I'm now going to outline how teal is used in the body paragraphs of your essay. So you can see along the left-hand side the letters T, E, 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 L, and what that links to in terms of what we've been talking about. So your topic sentence, the T, links to the issue that you are discussing in your paragraph. And I've given you a bit of a sentence starter here. One issue explored in The Lieutenant of Inishmore, or one issue explored in The Homecoming, one issue explored in Black Comedy is X. Okay? Animal cruelty, violence, terrorism, theatricality and reality. Okay? You then, in your second sentence, or third sentence, second and third sentence, elaborate on that. Well, what is animal cruelty? What is violence? Why are these things important? You then introduce your example, and this is only one sentence. This is shown in the scene in Lieutenant of Inishmore when Donnie and Davy attempt to kill Weed Thomas. This is shown in The Homecoming when Ruth and Lenny flirt with each other. Okay, you give a brief outline of what the scene is. Do not get into the habit of describing everything that happens in the scene. The markers know what happens in the scene. Okay? Besides, in the second part of this is where you describe a little bit more about what you did. The elaboration of the example, including the quote. In a class workshop, we experimented with slapstick in the scene where Padrick returns home. In The Homecoming, we experimented with levels and staging to show Ruth's status. Okay? And then you describe what it is that you did. When you're describing what you did, use as much emotive language as you can. Okay? Rather than saying Padrick walked around the stage, say Padrick stomped, Padrick stamped, Padrick walked with aggression across the stage. Really put the marker into the audience. Okay? Donnie shouted at Davy inches away from his face, as loud as he could. In The Homecoming, Max was bent over like a crooked old man. Okay? Lenny moved smoothly across the stage, highlighting how sleek his character is. Don't be afraid in this section, in the class workshop section, to use similes and to use metaphors, okay? Because that helps with your explanation. With your dramatic technique, you then elaborate on the classroom example using whatever technique you've talked about. We blah 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 blah. So by using characterization, I learnt blah 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 blah. By using slapstick, I learnt blah 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 blah. In fact, I'm going to add that in there for you so that you've got that. Okay? Then you link all of these things together. Therefore, animal cruelty is explored in Lieutenant of Inishmore through the use of slapstick and characterization. Tie everything up in a really neat package. Okay, so in terms of the drama paragraphs, what you should be writing is 2 paragraphs on each play. Okay, so that basically means 2 on Lieutenant of Inishmore and 2 on Homecoming. Okay, those 2 paragraphs can be made up of any of these 3 things. An experience in which you acted, an experience in which you were the audience, or an experience in which you were the director, designer, director or designer, and that would be costume, set, lighting, sound. Okay, so if you were talking about acting, you could say things like, when I acted as Patrick, I tried to, etc., etc., etc. If you talk about viewing, when I watched a classmate perform as Patrick, I, etc., etc., etc. If you talk about the technical, you would say, if I was directing this show, I would. If I was costume designer for this show, I would, etc., etc. Okay? So if you have any more questions, obviously come speak to me. I'll share with you these 2 documents and this video, and hopefully that answers all your questions on the Black Comedy essay.